Okay, after some requests, I am going to go put together a little extra video for you guys that are having a hard time figuring out how to factor trinomials when there's a coefficient in the first term. And so some of you guys are having some problems figuring out which numbers to use and so forth, okay? And then ultimately, once you do find the numbers, having a hard time figuring out which place to put them in, okay? And I've taught a few of you guys, and I've seen a few of you guys using this method, and so I thought I'd give this a shot and see what, hopefully this helps some of you guys. First thing you need to do, no matter what, right, is list your factors of the first term and the last term, right? So 1 times 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Okay, those are all 24 and 2. Simple. We got 1 and 2, right? But the thing you got to remember is it's a negative 2. So you're either going to have negative 1, 2 or 1, negative 2, right? Those are your options. Now, here's a little trick that we've been using a little bit with some of the people, and not everybody's caught on yet. So what you do is you put an X, okay? And this X is going to do two things for you, okay? On the left side, you're going to put the factors of the first term that you want to use, and on the right side you're going to use the factors of the second term, okay? Well, since the factors of the second term are just 1 and 2, we can just write those in right away, right? 1 and 2. Now, we will have to figure out which one we want negative, which one we want positive, okay? Now, what you do on the other side, since we have all these different factors, this is where you're going to be doing a little bit of trial and error. Okay, and there are some other methods that you can use, but we want to make sure that you really know your math facts, right? If you know your math facts, you should know kind of right away which ones you should have to use. Okay, and if you kind of run through really fast, the biggest thing you're going to multiply by is 2, right? So when you multiply times 2, well, if I use the 6 and the 4 down here, okay, well, 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times 4 is 8, so I'm not going to get anywhere close to this 47 with that. Okay, so I know that's not going to work. Okay, well, let's look at 3 and 8. Well, 8 times 2 is 16. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, well, again, neither one of those are going to get anywhere close to the 47 that we need. So let's cross that off. Okay, well, we're getting a little closer now. Okay, we got 2 and 12. But 12 times 2, again, is only 24. And then if you did 2 and 1, that's only another 2. That would get us to 26 if we were adding, which we're not. So, again, that doesn't work. So now we're down to 1 and 24. Okay, that's the only set that's possible here. Okay, and now if you look at 1 and 24, what do we want the 24 to multiply by? Okay, well, we need to get all the way to 47. So if we did 24 times 1, we're not anywhere close. So what we're going to do is we want the 24 to multiply by 2. And when you're going to do that, that means that whatever one is across the x, okay, so going across the x, that's where you're going to put the number. Okay, so 24 is going to multiply times the 2, which means that 1 is going to multiply by the 1. Okay, now, 24 times 2 is 48, and 1 times 1 is 1, right? Well, we want this to be positive 47 in the middle. So that means we want this 48 to be positive and this 1 to be negative, right? So when we put them together, it becomes positive 47. Alright, so that means that either the 1 or the 2 on the right side have to be negative, and since we want the negative 1, that means we're going to make the negative 1 there. Now here's the trick, ready? This is going to finish up your whole problem. Since that's negative 1, we're going to put that as positive 2, and then all we're going to do is put our z right next to these, and watch this. If you put your parentheses around, there's your parentheses right there. You're done. Okay, now all you have to do is copy them down. So I know my first parenthesis is 24z minus 1, and my other one is z plus 2. That's it. You are now done. Okay, that's your answer right there. If you multiplied it all back out, right, you get 24z squared. That would give you 48z. You got minus 1z, and then minus 2. Put the 48 and minus 1 together, and you got 47. Alright, so there's another little trick. We'll try a couple more here. Okay, the next example we have 12x squared plus 28x minus 24. Okay, and hopefully the first thing you notice right away is that we have a common factor, right? Okay, all three of these terms have a 4 in common. Okay, if you started with 2, that's one thing, but you need to do it again if you did with 2. So pull out your 4. So if we pull out the 4, you're left with 3x squared plus 7x minus 6. Okay, so the first step is always greatest common factor. You should already have pulled that out. All right, now we're going to focus on the inside, okay, inside the parentheses. And so we know right away that the factors of the first one are going to be 1 and 3. That makes it easy. Okay, now the factor of the other side, you can have 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. Okay, and you know that we're going to have opposite signs because of our negative there. So let's draw our x. We're going to put 1 and 3 in right away. Okay, now you could just try plugging them in. Okay, so let's give this a shot. If we picked 1 and 6, okay, well if we put 6 there and 1 there, okay, well 3 times 6 is 18, that's way too big, so let's erase that. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, what about if we put 1 there and 6 there? Well, you put those together, you get 3 and you get 6, that's 9. If you subtract them, that's 3. That doesn't work, we need a 7. So let's erase those. So apparently that guy doesn't work. So now we're going to do 2 and 3. Okay, hopefully you're kind of catching on to what we should be doing here, right? So let's do 2 up top, 3 on the bottom. Well, that'll give us 6 and 3, and again we already said if we get 6 and 3 that doesn't work. So let's get rid of that way. And now we're going to do 3 on top, 2 on the bottom. So 3 times 3 is 9, and 2 times 1 is 2. And we want them to be put together so that it's positive 7. So that means we want the 3's to be positive and the 2 to be negative. Okay, and that'll work. So now we put in our variables in our parentheses, and you end up with x plus 3 times 3x minus 2. Alright, so there's a couple of examples for you. Hopefully that makes sense to you. If not, keep trying. The math facts are everything.